Hey guys, tonight we slip into a world so ancient, so wild, it makes your cozy bedroom feel like a speck of dust in the cosmos. Picture yourself standing on a cracked, sun-scorched plain where the air hums with secrets and the ground trembles under the weight of giants. The antediluvian world, before Noah's Ark, before the flood, sprawls before you, a place where angels dared to tread, and the Nephilim, those hulking half-breeds, carved their names into the earth's bones. It's a time of chaos, of divine rebellion, of stories so epic they'd make your Wi-Fi router overheat just trying to process them. Honestly, you wouldn't last a day out there. No sunscreen, no Uber, just you and some seriously cranky giants. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Drop a comment with your city and local time. I'm curious where you're listening from tonight. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You stand at the edge of this forgotten world, the air thick with the scent of dust and something sharper, maybe ozone, like the sky's about to crack open. The horizon glows a sickly amber, as if the sun's too tired to rise properly. This is the antediluvian age, a time historians pin somewhere before 3000 BCE, when the earth was a playground for beings that make your average bodybuilder look like a toddler with a toy hammer. You're here to uncover the Book of Giants, a text so mysterious it was buried for centuries, only to resurface among the Dead Sea Scrolls like a long-lost email from God's spam folder. It's not in your standard Bible, but it's tied to stories you know. Noah, the flood, the Nephilim, those massive creatures born from angels who got a bit too cozy with humans. Feel the ground vibrate under your feet, a low rumble like a distant subwoofer. That's no earthquake. It's the Nephilim, the giants, stomping through their world. You squint and catch their silhouettes against the horizon, towering figures that make skyscrapers look like Lego bricks. The Book of Giants, part of ancient texts like the Book of Enoch, whispers their story. It's not just about their size, but their chaos. Think of them as the ultimate influencers of their day, except instead of selfies, they're causing earthquakes and divine migraines. Historians still debate how much of this text is myth versus memory, but the scrolls, found in Qumran's caves in the 1940s, prove it's older than your grandma's secret cookie recipe, dating back to at least 200 BCE. You catch a whiff of something odd, like overripe fruit mixed with campfire smoke. That's the trace of the Watchers, angelic beings who ditched their heavenly day jobs to play house with humans. Oh, lesser-known tidbit, these Watchers didn't just fall for love. They taught humanity forbidden arts, metalworking, cosmetics, maybe even the ancient equivalent of coding cheat codes for life. Imagine an angel showing up with a PowerPoint on how to make a sword sharper than your mom's passive-aggressive comments. It's thrilling, but it's trouble. You can almost hear the divine council in heaven muttering, "Who approved this field trip? Step closer to a crumbling stone pillar. Its carvings worn but pulsing with meaning. You trace the symbols, swirls, eyes, maybe a giant's footprint, and feel a chill, like someone's watching from above or below. The Book of Giants isn't just a story, it's a warning, a snapshot of a world teetering on collapse. It's tied to Genesis 6, where the Bible mentions the Nephilim briefly, like a teaser trailer for a blockbuster that never got made. But this text, it's the director's cut, full of dreams, prophecies, and a cosmic showdown. You're not just standing in a dusty plain, you're at the edge of a divine drama where angels, giants, and humans collide. You glance up, and the stars seem too bright, too close, like they're eavesdropping. A soft wind carries whispers. Names like Enoch, Maweh, Gilgamesh. Yeah, that Gilgamesh, the Sumerian hero, might even cameo in this tale, because ancient stories love a good crossover episode. You smirk, imagining him posting a TikTok with giant slayer vibes. But the humor fades as the ground shakes again, harder this time. The giants aren't just myths. They're the reason the flood's coming. Their world, this world you're standing in, is about to drown. And the Book of Giants? It's their last diary entry before the waters rise. You take a step, and the dust swirls, like it's trying to tell you something. Maybe it's warning you to keep up, because this story's about to get wilder. You're not just a visitor here, you're a witness, caught in a tale that's been hushed for millennia. So, you pull your metaphorical cloak tighter, ignore the goosebumps, and move forward, ready to see what these giants and their angelic parents did to tick off the heavens so badly. You're still standing in this antediluvian world, the amber sky pressing down like a heavy quilt, and the air's buzzing with something electric, like you've wandered into a cosmic soap opera. The ground's still warm from the day's heat, and you can smell dust mixed with something metallic, maybe the scent of forbidden crafts lingering from those angelic rebels. Remember that vibe from last time? Like the stars were eavesdropping? Now they're practically leaning in, because you're about to witness the moment the Watchers, those celestial renegades, ditch heaven for earth. It's a bold move, like quitting your 9-to-5 to start a band with zero practice. You tilt your head and see them, shadowy figures, descending through a sky that ripples like a bad Zoom connection. These are the Watchers, angels who were supposed to keep an eye on humanity, not crash their party. Their wings, if you can call them that, shimmer faintly, catching the starlight like a glitch in a video game. You feel a shiver, not just from the cooling night air, but from the weight of their choice. This isn't just a field trip gone wrong. It's a rebellion that'll rewrite the rule book of the cosmos. The Book of Giants, tucked away in those Qumran scrolls, whispers their names. Samyaza, Azazel, a whole crew of divine delinquents. Step closer to a rocky outcrop, your sandals crunching on gravel that feels older than time itself. You can almost hear the Watchers' voices, low and resonant, as they land on Earth around 3000 BCE, give or take a few centuries. Historians love a good ballpark figure. This moment ties to Genesis 6.2, where the sons of God saw human women and thought, why not? It's a scandal that makes reality TV look tame. You smirk, imagining them swiping right on humanity. No divine dating app required. But here's a weird fact. These angels didn't just fall for love. They brought blueprints for chaos, teaching humans how to forge weapons, cast spells, maybe even mix the ancient equivalent of a viral energy drink. You catch a faint glow from a nearby village where campfires flicker like tiny rebellions against the dark. The Watchers are there, mingling with humans, their towering forms casting shadows that dance like bad omens. You can feel the tension, like the moment before a thunderstorm when the air's too still. They're not just flirting, they're forging bonds that'll birth the Nephilim, giants who'll make your neighbor's loud pickup truck seem like a minor nuisance. Historians still debate whether the Watchers' motives were lust, curiosity, or some cosmic midlife crisis. But the fallout's clear. They're about to turn Earth into a divine demolition derby. Run your fingers along the rock, and you feel etchings. Maybe a Watcher's sigil, or just the wind's graffiti. The air grows heavier, like it's holding its breath. You notice the stars dim slightly, as if heaven's turning its back. The Book of Giants doesn't spell it out, but you sense the Watchers knew they were crossing a line. They didn't just break rules, they rewrote them, teaching humans tricks that made the gods upstairs clutch their celestial pearls. Imagine Azazel dropping a YouTube tutorial on how to smelt bronze like a pro. Game-changing, but guaranteed to make the divine HR department furious. You take a step, and the ground feels softer, like it's mourning what's coming. Faint hum rises, maybe the Watchers chanting, or just the earth groaning under their weight. You're not just watching history, you're breathing it, tasting the dust of a world about to spiral. The Nephilim are next, those giant offspring who'll stomp through this tale like they own it. But for now, you're stuck on the Watchers, these angelic outcasts who traded eternity for a taste of Earth. You chuckle, picturing them trying to explain this to a divine review board. We just wanted to, vibe with the humans, okay? The wind picks up, carrying a whisper of their names again. Samyaza, Azazel, echoing like a playlist stuck on repeat. You glance at the horizon, where the amber glows fading into a deeper, angrier red. Something's brewing, and it's not just the weather. The Watcher's descent isn't just a moment. It's the spark that'll light a fire big enough to burn the world down. You pull your cloak tighter, ignoring the goosebumps, and move toward the village lights, ready to see what happens when angels play human and the giants they create start breaking everything. You're trudging through this antediluvian night now, the village lights from last time flickering like a dying signal in the distance. The air's thick with that metallic tang, mixed with something sweeter, almost cloying, like overripe figs left to rot. Your sandals sink into the soft earth, each step squelching as if the ground's whispering secrets it can't hold back. The Watcher's reckless descent is still buzzing in your mind. Those celestial rebels who thought Earth was their personal playground. But now, you're about to meet their legacy. The Nephilim, the giants born from their forbidden flings with human women. It's like the ultimate reality show twist, except the drama's about to break the world. You pause near a cluster of mud brick huts, their walls glowing faintly under a moon that's too big, too close, like it's gate crashing. The sky, you hear a low rumble, not thunder, but something alive, something massive. Then you see them, the Nephilim, towering figures that make the huts look like doll houses. They're not just tall, they're monstrous, their shadows swallowing the ground like a bad Instagram filter. The Book of Giants paints them as the offspring of angels and humans, born around 3000 BCE, give or take, same era as those early Sumerian cities you've read about in history class, like Uruk, where people were already inventing writing and apparently giant-sized problems. Your heart skips as one of them moves, his footsteps shaking the earth like a subwoofer cranked to 11. You smell sweat and dust on him, mixed with something sharp, like iron or blood. These giants aren't just big, they're chaos incarnate, tearing through forests, flattening fields, probably eating enough to bankrupt an ancient Costco. A lesser-known tidbit, the Book of Giants hints they weren't just mindless brutes. Some, like Ohia and Ahia, had names, dreams, maybe even existential crises about their half-angel DNA. Imagine a 20-foot-tall dude brooding over his identity like he's in a therapy session with no couch big enough. You duck behind a boulder, feeling its rough surface scrape your palm. The Nephilim's presence is overwhelming, like standing too close to a bonfire. Genesis 6:4 calls them mighty men of renown, but that's Bible speak for terrifying influencers who don't need a blue check mark to cause trouble. You smirk, picturing one trying to vlog with a stone tablet. Smash that like button, mortals. But the humor fades as you notice the villagers' fear. Hushed voices, trembling hands. These giants aren't just a spectacle. They're a walking disaster, their appetites and tempers pushing the world toward ruin. Run your fingers along the boulder, and you feel faint carvings, maybe a hunter's mark or a desperate prayer. The air grows heavier, like it's bracing for impact. Historians still debate whether the Nephilim were literal giants or just powerful warlords exaggerated by myth. But the Book of Giants leans hard into the "they're freaking huge" camp. You catch a glimpse of one hefting a tree like it's a toothpick. And yeah, you're team literal giant now. The text says they devoured everything: crops, livestock, maybe even people. If the rumors are true, it's less farm to table and more everything to giant. You take a cautious step, the ground still vibrating from their movements. A faint chant drifts from the village, maybe a plea to the heavens to do something about these oversized troublemakers. The Nephilim's birth wasn't just a scandal, it was a tipping point. The Watcher's little experiment in human-angel romance has spawned a generation that's literally too big for the world. You chuckle, imagining the divine council scrolling through the chaos like it's a bad Reddit thread. Who greenlit this? But the laughter catches in your throat as you see a giant's eyes, gleaming, almost human, but not quite. They know they're different, and they're not happy about it. The wind shifts, carrying a whiff of smoke from the village fires. You glance at the stars, still too bright, like they're taking notes on this mess. The Nephilim are the heart of the Book of Giants story, the reason it's more than just an ancient footnote. Their existence is a glitch in creation, a bug in the cosmic code that's about to crash the system. You pull your cloak tighter, ignoring the chill creeping up your spine, and move closer to the village, drawn to the giant's shadows. Whatever's next, you know it's not going to be pretty. You're weaving through the antediluvian village now. The flickering fires from those mud brick huts, casting shadows that dance like nervous ghosts across your path. The air's heavy with the scent of smoke and something earthier, maybe clay or the faint musk of livestock, though you suspect the Nephilim's appetites left the local herds a bit sparse. Your sandals scrape against uneven stones, each step echoing in the quiet, as if the world's holding its breath. Those giants from before, their massive forms looming like living mountains, are still fresh in your mind, their earth-shaking stomps fading into the distance. But now, you're diving deeper, straight to the heart of the Book of Giants itself, a text so old it makes your phone's low battery warning feel like a futuristic novelty. You pause by a crumbling wall, its surface etched with faded symbols that look like they're trying to whisper something urgent. The Book of Giants, you sense, isn't just a story. It's a relic, a fragment of a world that drowned long before the pyramids rose. Found among the Dead Sea Scrolls in the 1940s, tucked away in Qumran's dusty caves, this text is like a cosmic post-it note, linked to the Book of Enoch and dated to around 200 BCE or earlier. You can almost feel the parchment's brittle texture under your fingers. Though it's long gone, its words preserved by scribes who probably didn't sleep well after copying them. This is the era of ancient Judah, when empires like Babylon were flexing their muscles. Yet this text tells a wilder tale of giants, angels, and a prophet named Enoch. Lean against the wall, and you catch a faint whiff of myrrh, maybe from a nearby trader's stash. The Book of Giants isn't in your Bible, but it's a cousin to Genesis, filling in the blanks about those Nephilim and their angelic dads. Here's a strange tidbit. It wasn't just a Jewish text. Fragments of it popped up in Manichaean communities. Those ancient Persian mystics who loved a good cosmic drama, imagine them passing it around like a forbidden PDF, tweaking it to fit their own end-of-the-world fan fiction. You smirk, picturing a Manichaean monk trying to pitch it to his buddies. Trust me, this giant story slaps harder than a Babylonian tax hike. The ground trembles slightly. Not the giants this time, but maybe a distant storm brewing, like the flood that's looming in this story's future. You glance at the sky, where the stars still gleam too brightly, like they're keeping score. The Book of Giants centers on Enoch, the righteous guy who walked with God, literally, according to Genesis 5:24, where he's whisked to heaven without dying, like he got an express ticket to the divine VIP lounge. In this text, he's the mediator, the one who decodes the giant's dreams and delivers God's not-so-friendly memos. Historians still debate why this book was left out of the biblical canon. Too weird, too apocalyptic, or maybe just too much giant paperwork for the scribes to handle. You step away from the wall, your cloak catching on a jagged stone. The village hums with quiet fear, whispers of giants, of watchers, of a world gone wrong. You can almost hear the scribes who first wrote this text, their quills scratching under lamplight, trying to capture a story that feels too big for words. The Book of Giants isn't just about monsters. It's about warnings, about a world so out of balance it's begging for a reset. You chuckle, imagining Enoch as the ultimate cosmic whistleblower, ratting out the watchers like he's filing a complaint with divine HR. But the humor fades as you notice a faint glow on the horizon, not fire, but something colder, like a vision waiting to unfold. Run your fingers through the dust at your feet, feeling its grit, like the remnants of a world about to be erased. The Book of Giants ties to Enoch's prophecies, which you'll soon see firsthand. Dreams of doom, tablets of judgment, a whole apocalyptic PowerPoint presentation. For now, you're standing in the shadow of its origins, where every whisper feels like a countdown. The villagers' fear, the Nephilim's chaos, the Watcher's rebellion. It's all converging, and you're right in the middle. You pull your cloak tighter, ignoring the chill that's more than just the night air, and move toward that eerie glow, ready to meet Enoch and the visions that'll shake this story to its core. You're moving deeper into this antediluvian night, the village's flickering fires now just a faint glow behind you, like a phone screen left on low battery. The air's cooler now, carrying a sharp bite of desert wind mixed with something ancient, maybe the scent of old leather or sacred oils, like you're brushing past a shrine no one's tended in centuries. Your sandals crunch on brittle twigs, each snap loud in the stillness, as if the world's waiting for something big. Those Nephilim shadows from before still loom in your memory, their earth-shaking steps fading, but not forgotten. Now, you're about to meet Enoch, the righteous sage, who's more than just a name in the Book of Giants. He's the guy heaven speed dials when the Watchers and their giant kids start trashing the place. You find yourself on a rocky hill, the ground uneven under your feet, forcing you to steady yourself against a gnarled tree, its bark rough as ancient parchment. The stars above burn brighter, almost judgmental, like they're glaring at the chaos below. Enoch's your focus now. The man Genesis 5:24 says walked with God before vanishing into the divine equivalent of a private jet. Around 3000 BCE, when Sumerians were scratching cuneiform into clay tablets, Enoch was out here playing cosmic's mediator. The Book of Giants casts him as the one who sees visions, decodes dreams, and delivers bad news to the Nephilim, like he's serving eviction notices from heaven. You catch a faint hum, like a distant chant or the buzz of a cosmic radio tuning in. Enoch's not just a prophet. He's a bridge between worlds, a weird tidbit. Some texts, like the Book of Enoch, say he was shown the secrets of the universe, stars, seasons, maybe even the divine algorithm that keeps it all spinning. Imagine him squinting at a celestial Google Doc, taking notes while angels whisper, "Don't leak this to the humans." You smirk, picturing Enoch as the ultimate nerd, hoarding cosmic cheat codes while the giants stomp around like they're auditioning for a monster truck rally. Step forward, and the wind carries a whiff of incense, sharp and sweet, like it's drifting from a hidden ritual. You spot a figure in the distance, tall, robed, standing alone on a ridge. That's Enoch, his silhouette steady against the flickering sky. The Book of Giants says he's the one the giants turn to when their dreams get weird. And trust me, those dreams are about to make your worst nightmares look like a bad rom-com. Historians still debate whether Enoch was a real guy or a mythic stand-in for divine wisdom. But the scrolls make him feel real, too real, like someone who's seen too much and still has to file the paperwork. You feel a tremor Not from giants this time, but from something deeper, like the earth's pulse quickening. Enoch's visions aren't just daydreams, they're divine PowerPoint slides, warning of a flood that'll hit the reset button on this chaotic world. You run your fingers along the tree, its bark flaking like old skin, and notice carvings, maybe Enoch's own, scribbled in a hurry to capture heaven's memos. The air grows heavier, like it's thick with prophecy. You're not just watching Enoch, you're feeling the weight of his role, caught between angry giants, fallen angels, and a God who's running out of patience. You chuckle softly, imagining Enoch trying to explain his job to a modern career counselor. So, I talk to angels, interpret giant nightmares, and occasionally get beamed up to heaven. Benefits are great, but the hours are eternal. The humor fades as you see his face, lined, weary, but sharp with purpose. He's not just a sage, he's a whistleblower, calling out the Watcher's sins, while the Nephilim's chaos threatens to drown the world before the flood even gets here. You glance at the stars again, their light now cold, like they're signaling the end of Act 1. The path ahead slopes downward, toward a valley where shadows move. Maybe villagers, maybe something bigger. You pull your cloak tighter, the chill more than just the night air now, and follow Enoch's silhouette. He's about to confront the giant's dreams, and you're tagging along, whether you're ready or not. The Book of Giants is no bedtime story. It's a warning, and Enoch's the one holding the megaphone. You take a deep breath, tasting the dust and incense, and step into the valley, ready for the visions that'll make this tale even wilder. You're descending into the valley now, the air growing denser, like you're wading through a fog of ancient secrets. The scent of incense from that hilltop ritual lingers, now mixed with something earthier. Damp soil, maybe, or the faint musk of fear sweat from the villagers you left behind. Your sandals slip on loose pebbles, each clatter sharp in the stillness, as if the world's holding its breath for what's coming. Enoch's silhouette, that lone prophet from last time, is fading into the distance, but his presence still hums in your mind, like a song stuck on repeat. Now, you're plunging into the giant's dreams, those Nephilim nightmares that make the Book of Giants read like a cosmic horror script. These aren't your average bad dreams. They're apocalyptic, and you're about to get front row seats. You find a flat stone to rest on, its surface cool and worn, like it's been waiting for you since the world was young. The sky above is a deep indigo, stars pulsing like they're trying to Morse code. A warning. The Nephilim, those towering chaos machines, aren't just stomping around anymore. They're haunted by visions of doom. The Book of Giants, tucked into those Qumran scrolls from around 200 BCE, describes their dreams as divine dispatches. Think of them as heaven's version of a scary pop-up ad, warning of a flood that'll wipe the slate clean. This ties to the biblical flood narrative in Genesis 7, dated loosely to the same antediluvian era, when Noah was probably already pricing out ark materials. You lean back, feeling the stone's chill seep through your cloak. The giant's dreams are vivid, almost too vivid, like a 4K horror movie playing in their heads. One dream, the text says, shows a garden of trees burning, roots and all, symbolic, sure, but to a giant, It's like watching their whole world go up in flames. Here's a strange tidbit. The Book of Giants names specific dreamers, like Ohya and Hahya, who beg Enoch to decode these nightmares. Imagine a 20-foot tall Nephilim knocking on Enoch's door like he's tech support for the apocalypse. Yo, my dream's glitching. Help me out. You smirk, picturing Enoch's face. Part prophet, part overworked customer service rep. The air shifts, carrying a low moan. Not the wind, but something alive. Maybe a giant tossing in his sleep nearby. You glance around, half expecting to see one of those massive forms sprawled across the valley, dreaming of fire and floods. Historians still debate what these dreams meant. Literal prophecies, or just the giants' guilty consciences projecting their chaos onto the cosmos. But the Book of Giants leans hard into the God's not happy angle, with visions of water swallowing mountains and skies cracking open. You feel a prickle on your neck, like the valley itself is watching, waiting for the other shoe to drop. Run, your fingers along the stone, tracing faint cracks that feel like they've held 1,000 stories. The giants aren't just dreaming for drama. They're scared, and that's saying something for beings who could bench press a boulder. Their visions hint at punishment, not just for them, but for their watcher parents who thought angel-human hookups were a great idea. You chuckle, imagining a giant trying to journal his feelings. Dear diary, dreamed the world ended again. Also ate a whole herd of goats, feeling conflicted. But the humor fades as you hear a distant rumble, like thunder or a giant's restless stirring. You stand, brushing dust off your cloak, and notice the stars dimming slightly, as if they're tired of watching this mess. The Nephilim's dreams are the turning point in the Book of Giants. The moment they realize the party's over, Enoch's their only hope. But you already know he's not bringing good news. You catch a whiff of something sharp, maybe lightning, in the air, or just the valley's way of saying, brace yourself. The ground feels unsteady, like it's already anticipating the flood. You pull your cloak tighter, ignoring the goosebumps, and move toward the heart of the valley, where the giant's fears are about to get a voice, and Enoch's about to drop some hard truths. You're deep in the valley now, the air thick with a damp chill that clings to your skin like a second cloak. The scent of wet earth mixes with something sharper, ozone maybe, like the sky's itching to unleash a storm. Your sandals sink slightly into the muddy ground, each step a soft squelch that feels like the world's pulse, slow and uneasy. Those Nephilim dreams from before, burning gardens and drowning mountains, still echo in your head, their apocalyptic weight pressing down like a bad deadline. Enoch's out there somewhere, carrying heaven's warnings. But now, you're following a new thread in this ancient tapestry. Mahweh, a giant with a name and a mission, who's about to take you on a journey so wild it makes those watcher shenanigans look like a casual Friday. You pause near a jagged cliff face, its surface glinting under a moon that's too pale, like it's seen too much. You can still feel the tremor of the giant's restless sleep, but Mahweh's story stands out in the Book of Giants like a plot twist no one saw coming. This Nephilim, one of the named sons of the Watchers, isn't just brooding over nightmares. He's on a quest to find Enoch, maybe even leaving Earth to do it. The text, found among those Qumran scrolls around 200 BCE, hints at Mahweh soaring to the heavens, or at least somewhere far beyond the valley, to beg for answers. This ties to the era when Mesopotamian myths, like the Epic of Gilgamesh around 2100 BCE, loved their heroes taking cosmic road trips. Run your fingers along the cliff, its rough edges biting your skin like a warning. You imagine Mahweh, a giant so massive he'd make your apartment building look like a toy model, launching into the sky like a prehistoric SpaceX prototype. Here's a weird tidbit. The Book of Giants suggests his journey might have been astral, like a dream-walking side quest, not a physical flight. Picture him floating through a starry void, probably wishing he'd packed a cosmic energy drink. You smirk, imagining Mahweh trying to navigate with an ancient GPS. Recalculating, turn left at Orion's belt. The air grows colder, and you hear a faint hum, like the valleys singing its own eerie lullaby. Mahweh's mission wasn't just a joyride. He was desperate, chasing Enoch to decode those fiery dreams that had his giant brothers panicking. You glance up, and the stars seem to shift, almost forming a path, like they're guiding him, or you. Historians still debate whether Mahweh's journey was literal or symbolic, a real trip to the heavens or just a fever dream of a guilt-ridden giant. But the Book of Giants leans into the surreal, making you wonder if the Nephilim had one foot in the divine already. You step forward, the mud sucking at your sandals like it's trying to keep you grounded. A distant roar, not thunder, but maybe Mahweh himself, cuts through the night. The text doesn't say if he flew, walked, or hitched a ride on a comet, but you feel the weight of his desperation, like a knot in your chest. He's not just a giant. He's a sun caught between worlds, angelic blood in his veins, but earth's dust on his feet. You chuckle, picturing him trying to file a travel expense report with the Watchers. One round trip to the cosmos. Receipt lost. Please reimburse. The cliff face looms beside you, its shadows twisting like they're alive. You catch a whiff of something metallic, maybe a trace of the Watcher's forbidden crafts lingering in the air. Mahweh's quest ties the Book of Giants to Enoch's visions, a bridge between the giant's fears and heaven's judgment. You're not just standing in a valley, you're at the edge of a cosmic crossroads, where a giant's journey could shift the fate of this doomed world. The stars flicker, like they're winking at the absurdity of it all. You pull your cloak tighter, the chill now a full-body shiver, and move toward the heart of the valley, where Mahweh's path and Enoch's answers wait to unravel. You're still in the heart of this antediluvian valley, the air now sharp, with a chill that cuts through your cloak like a whispered warning. The scent of damp earth lingers, laced with something acrid, maybe ash from a distant fire, or the faint tang of divine displeasure. Your sandals crunch on brittle stones, each step echoing like a heartbeat in the quiet, as if the world knows what's coming. Mahweh's cosmic joyride from last time still swirls in your mind, his desperate quest to find Enoch fading like a strange dream. Now you're standing at the edge of something heavier. Enoch's tablets of judgment, the divine equivalent of a cease and desist letter etched in stone, delivered straight to the giants and their Watcher parents. It's not just a warning, it's a verdict, and you're about to read it You find a low ridge to lean against, the rock cold and slick under your palms, like it's sweating out the secrets of this doomed world. The stars above are dimmer now, as if they're turning away from the drama below. The Book of Giants, that ancient text from the Qumran scrolls around 200 BCE, describes Enoch receiving these tablets, divine messages spelling out doom for the Nephilim and their angelic dads. This ties to the Book of Enoch, which shares the same vibe, rooted in the era when Babylon's ziggurats towered over Mesopotamia around 2000 BCE, and scribes were busy recording tales of gods and floods. You catch a faint glow ahead, not firelight, but something colder, like moonlight bouncing off stone. That's where Enoch stands, clutching tablets that feel heavier than the mountains around you. They're not just stone slabs, they're heaven's final notice, listing the sins of the watchers. Think forbidden angel-human hookups and teaching humans to make weapons sharper than your mom's side-eye. A weird tidbit. The tablets don't just condemn, they describe the giant's fate in vivid detail, like a divine PowerPoint with bullet points of fire and flood. You smirk, imagining Enoch reading them aloud, like he's presenting to a very grumpy boardroom. Slide 1. Y'all messed up big time. The air grows still. So quiet, you hear your own breathing, shallow and quick. You step closer to the glow, feeling the ground shift slightly, as if it's nervous too. Enoch's tablets aren't just about punishment. They're a last chance for repentance, though you can already guess how that'll go. Historians still debate whether these tablets were literal objects or symbolic visions, but the Book of Giants treats them like divine law carved in stone. Think 10 Commandments, but with more, thou shalt not spawn giant chaos machines. You feel a prickle on your skin, like the valley's holding its breath, waiting for the giant's reaction. Run your fingers along the ridge, its surface etched with faint lines. Maybe a scribe's practice run or a desperate prayer. You can almost see Enoch, his face stern but tired, reading out the charges. The Watchers' rebellion, the Nephilim's destruction, the whole world spiraling like a bad TikTok trend gone global. You chuckle, picturing a giant trying to argue his case. Your Honor, I only ate one village, I swear. But the humor fades as you notice the glow intensifying, Enoch's silhouette sharper now. The tablets aren't just words. They're a countdown, and the clock's ticking louder. The wind picks up, carrying a faint moan, maybe the giants, maybe the earth itself. You glance at the stars, now barely visible, like they're opting out of this mess. The tablets tie back to those Nephilim dreams from before, the burning gardens and drowning mountains, but now it's official. Heaven's done playing nice. You're not just a bystander. You're caught in the moment when the divine hammer's about to drop. You pull your cloak tighter, the chill sinking into your bones, and move toward Enoch's glow, ready to see how the giants and watchers take the news that their party's officially over. You're edging closer to that eerie glow now, the valley's darkness wrapping around you like a heavy blanket, thick with the scent of damp stone and something bitter, maybe the faint char of a fire long snuffed out. Your sandals scrape against jagged rocks, each sound sharp in the hushed air. as if the world's too nervous to breathe. Enoch's tablets from last time, those divine eviction notices, still burn in your mind, their words of judgment heavy as the stars overhead, which now flicker like they're dodging responsibility. The Nephilim and their watcher parents aren't just in trouble, they're on heaven's blacklist, and you're about to see what happens when they get the memo and choose defiance over surrender. It's like watching someone double down on a bad bet, except the stakes are the end of the world. You find a shallow ledge to rest against, its surface cold and gritty, like it's been carved by centuries of wind and regret. The Book of Giants, tucked away in those Qumran scrolls from around 200 BCE, paints this moment as the tipping point. The Watchers and their giant offspring, faced with Enoch's warnings, don't beg for mercy. They double down, proud and stubborn as a toddler refusing bedtime. This defiance echoes the rebellious spirit of ancient Mesopotamia, where kings like Sargon of Akkad, around 2300 BCE, built empires on sheer audacity, defying gods and rivals alike. You catch a distant rumble, not thunder, but something alive, maybe a Nephilim stomping in frustration, or a watcher shouting curses at the sky. The air feels charged, like static before a lightning strike. Here's a strange tidbit. The Book of Giants hints that some watchers, like Samyaza, tried to rally their crew, maybe even teaching more forbidden tricks to humans, like they were posting top 10 ways to annoy heaven on some ancient message board. You smirk, imagining a watcher trying to hype up his giant kids. Forget the tablets, let's start a rebellion hashtag. But the humor fades as you feel the ground tremble harder, the valley itself groaning under the weight of their pride. Step forward, and the glow from Enoch's direction sharpens, casting long shadows that twist like accusations. The Watcher's rebellion isn't just about saying no to heaven. It's a full-on middle finger to the cosmic order. They know the flood's coming. Those dreams of burning gardens and drowning mountains weren't subtle, but they'd rather go down swinging than kneel. Historians still debate whether their defiance was pure arrogance or a desperate grab for control. But the Book of Giants leans hard into the "they're too proud to quit" vibe. You can almost hear Samyaza's voice, booming like a bad motivational speaker, urging the giants to keep breaking stuff. Run your fingers along the ledge, feeling faint scratches, maybe a villager's plea or a watcher's defiant graffiti. The air grows heavier, like it's thick with the weight of their choice. You glance at the stars, barely visible now, as if they're checking out of this drama. The Nephilim, towering and restless, are part of this too, their massive forms lurking in the valley's shadows. You chuckle, picturing one trying to write a protest song. All I want to do is eat villages and not get flooded. Is that too much to ask? But the laughter catches as you see a flicker of movement. A giant, maybe, or just the wind playing tricks. The valley feels alive, pulsing with the tension of a world about to snap. The Watcher's rebellion ties back to those tablets, to Mahwe's cosmic quest, to the dreams that screamed, "Game over." You're not just watching a story, you're standing in its wreckage. The moment when pride overrides sense. The scent of ash grows stronger, like the valley's already burning in anticipation. You pull your cloak tighter, the chill now a full body, shiver and move toward the glow, where Enoch's warnings meet the Watcher's defiance. The giants are stirring, the heavens are watching, and you're caught in the middle, ready to see how this cosmic tantrum plays out. You're picking your way through the valley's shadows now, the air so thick with tension, it feels like you're wading through a fog of ancient grudges. The scent of ash from before lingers, now mixed with something richer, maybe cedar smoke, or the faint tang of spilled wine, like a feast gone wrong. Your sandals catch on gnarled roots, each step a soft thud that feels like it's waking something in the dark. The Watcher's defiance from last time still echoes in your ears, their stubborn pride a spark that's about to set the whole world ablaze. But now, you're stepping into a stranger corner of the Book of Giants, where the Nephilim's tale collides with a familiar name, Gilgamesh, the Sumerian hero, whose legend might just tangle with these giants in ways that make your head spin. You find a smooth boulder to lean against, its surface cool and slick, like it's been polished by centuries of restless winds. The stars above are faint, half hidden by clouds that swirl like they're plotting something. The Book of Giants, etched in those Qumran scrolls from around 200 BCE, doesn't name drop Gilgamesh directly, but its giants share a vibe with the Epic of Gilgamesh, that Mesopotamian blockbuster from around 2100 BCE. Gilgamesh, the king of Uruk, was a larger-than-life hero, part god, part human, who wrestled monsters and chased immortality. Sound familiar? The Nephilim, half-angel giants, might be his distant cousins, or at least the inspiration for his saga's oversized drama. You catch a whiff of something sharp, like flint struck too hard, and hear a distant clang, maybe a village smithy or a giant's clumsy attempt at weapon making. Here's a weird tidbit. Some scholars think the Book of Giants Nephilim, like Ohya or Hahya, could be mythic echoes of figures like Humbaba, the forest giant Gilgamesh slays in his epic. It's like the ancients were remixing their stories, casting giants as both villains and tragic heroes. You smirk, imagining Gilgamesh and a Nephilim facing off in an ancient WWE match, complete with trash talk. Your angel dad didn't teach you how to wrestle, big guy. The ground trembles slightly, not from giants this time, but maybe from the weight of history pressing down. You glance at the boulder, its surface etched with faint lines, maybe a hunter's mark or a Sumerian scribble. The Epic of Gilgamesh, carved on clay tablets, shares the same antediluvian backdrop as the Book of Giants, with floods and divine wrath aplenty. Historians still debate whether the Nephilim inspired Gilgamesh's tales, or if both drew from older myths, like a shared Pinterest board of ancient chaos. Either way, you're standing where their stories overlap, where a hero's quest and a giant's doom feel like two sides of the same coin. You step forward, the air growing heavier, like it's thick with the ghosts of old epics. You can almost see Gilgamesh, all muscle and swagger, striding through this valley, maybe eyeing the Nephilim with a mix of envy and disdain. The Book of Giants doesn't give him a cameo, but its giants carry that same larger-than-life energy. They're angelic, blood making them both mighty and cursed. You chuckle, picturing a Nephilim trying to pitch his story to a Sumerian scribe. It's like Gilgamesh, but taller and with more existential dread. The humor fades as you notice the clouds thickening, the stars now just a memory. The valley feels alive, pulsing with the echoes of myths that refuse to die. You run your fingers along the boulder, feeling its cracks, like the fractures in this world's fate. The Nephilim's link to Gilgamesh ties back to those dreams, those tablets, that cosmic rebellion you've been trailing. It's not just about giants anymore. It's about stories that outlive floods, carved into clay and memory. You pull your cloak tighter, the chill now sharp enough to bite, and move deeper into the valley, where the line between myth and truth blurs, and the giants' fate feels closer than ever. You're weaving deeper into the valley's gloom now, the air so thick it feels like you're breathing through a veil of ancient dust. The scent of cedar smoke from before has faded, replaced by something sharper, maybe the tang of distant rain, or the faint metallic whiff of a world unraveling. Your sandals snag on twisted vines, each step a soft crunch that echoes like a warning in the stillness. The Gilgamesh connection from last time still hums in your mind, those mythic echoes of giants and heroes blending like a cosmic playlist on shuffle. Now, you're stepping into a stranger chapter of the Book of Giants, one that takes a detour through the Manichaean world, where this ancient text got a makeover to fit a new cosmic narrative. It's like the giants' story went viral, remixed for a different crowd. You find a low stone wall to rest against, its surface rough and warm, like it's still holding the sun's heat from a day long gone. The stars above are hidden now, swallowed by clouds that churn like they're plotting a storm. The Book of Giants, found in those Qumran scrolls around 200 BCE, didn't just stay with the Jewish scribes. It traveled, landing in the hands of Manichaeans, those Persian mystics from the 3rd century CE who loved their dualistic cosmic dramas. This ties to the era when the Sasanian Empire was rising, a time when ideas spread like wildfire along trade routes, carrying tales of giants and floods to new ears. You catch a faint whiff of myrrh, maybe from a passing trader's caravan, or a ritual lingering in the air. The Manichaean version of the Book of Giants tweaks the story, weaving the Nephilim and Watchers into their light versus darkness saga. Here's a weird tidbit. They cast the giants as agents of chaos, battling divine forces in a cosmic tug-of-war, like they're the bad guys in a Manichaean superhero flick. You smirk, imagining a giant trying to fit into their script. So, I'm the villain? Cool. But can I get a better costume than doomed monster? The ground feels unsteady, like it's bracing for the flood you know is coming. You run your fingers along the wall, tracing faint carvings, maybe a merchant's mark or a mystic's prayer. The Manichaeans didn't just borrow the story, they made it their own, linking the giants to their myth of trapped light, battling eternal darkness. Historians still debate how much of their version is faithful to the original Qumran text versus a creative rewrite. But it's clear they saw the Nephilim as more than just big troublemakers. They were symbols of a broken cosmos. You feel a prickle on your neck, like the valley's whispering its own version of the tale. Step forward, and the air grows heavier, like it's thick with the weight of centuries. You can almost see a Manichaean scribe hunched over a scroll, reworking Enoch's warnings to fit their worldview, maybe adding a few dramatic flourishes for effect. You chuckle, picturing them pitching it like a Hollywood reboot. It's the Book of Giants, but with more cosmic vibes and fewer floods. The humor fades as you hear a distant rumble. Not a giant, but maybe the echo of their story, bouncing across time from Qumran to Persia. The valley's shadows twist, like they're trying to tell you something. The Manichaean take ties back to those tablets, those dreams, that defiance you've been trailing. But it adds a new layer, a world where giants aren't just rebels, but pawns in a bigger game. You glance at the sky, the clouds now a deep gray, like a curtain closing on this act. The Book of Giants isn't just a Jewish relic. It's a story that wandered, morphed, and found new life in a distant land. You pull your cloak tighter, the chill sinking deeper, and move toward the heart of the valley, where the giant's fate and the divine response is about to take center stage. You're deeper in the valley now, the air so heavy it feels like you're pushing through a curtain of ancient whispers. The scent of myrrh from that Manichaean detour lingers, now tangled with something colder. Whetstone maybe, or the faint ozone of a storm brewing somewhere beyond the horizon. Your sandals slip on slick rocks, each step a soft scrape that echoes like a heartbeat in the dark. The Manichaean remix of the giant's tale still hums in your mind, their cosmic spin on the Nephilim fading like a strange cover song. But now, you are stepping into the climax of the Book of Giants, a celestial showdown where 4 archangels, Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, Israel, descend to battle the Watchers and their oversized offspring. It's less a fight and more a divine cleanup crew, and you're caught in the crossfire. You find a jagged outcrop to lean against, its surface rough and cold, like it's been carved from the bones of this doomed world. The sky above is a swirling mess, clouds twisting like they're auditioning for an apocalyptic blockbuster. The Book of Giants, etched in those Qumran scrolls from around 200 BCE, describes this moment as heaven's counterstrike, a cosmic SWAT team sent to deal with the Watchers' rebellion. This ties to the Book of Enoch and Genesis 6, rooted in the antediluvian era. Think 3000 BCE, when Sumerian priests were scribbling hymns to gods who probably weren't thrilled about this mess either. You catch a flash in the sky, not lightning, but something brighter, like a star falling with purpose. That's the archangels, their presence heavy as a thunderstorm. Michael leads the charge, his name meaning "who is like God," which feels like a not-so-subtle flex on the Watchers, a weird tidbit. The Book of Giants says Israel, less famous than the others, joins the fray, possibly a stand-in for Uriel or another angelic heavy hitter. You smirk, imagining them rolling up like a divine boy band. We're here to shut this party down, and we brought backup. The humor fades as the ground shakes, a low rumble that feels like the earth's pleading for mercy. Run your fingers along the outcrop, feeling faint grooves, maybe a villager's prayer or a watcher's last-ditch sigil. The air crackles like it's charged with angelic energy. The archangels aren't just fighting, they're binding the Watchers, chaining their powers like you'd lock an overzealous app on your phone. Historians still debate whether this battle was a literal clash or a mythic way to explain divine justice, but the Book of Giants makes it feel real. Too real, like you're dodging celestial shrapnel. You hear a distant roar, not thunder, but something alive, maybe a watcher's defiance or a Nephilim's desperate cry. Step forward, and the air grows colder, the ozone scent sharper now, like the sky's about to split open. You can almost see Michael, his presence a blaze of light, pinning a watcher to the ground, while Gabriel rounds up the giants like they're rogue cattle. The Nephilim, those towering chaos machines from before, don't go quietly. Their massive forms thrash in the shadows, shaking the valley like a bad earthquake. You chuckle, picturing Raphael filing a post-battle report. Neutralized 20 giants, broke a sandal, send help. But the laughter catches as you feel the weight of this moment, heaven's wrath crashing down like a cosmic reset button. The valley pulses with energy, the stars completely gone now, swallowed by clouds that feel like judgment itself. This battle ties back to Enoch's tablets, the giant's dreams, the watcher's pride, all the threads you've been following. You're not just watching, you're standing in the wreckage of a world that pushed too far. You pull your cloak tighter, the chill now a bone-deep shiver, and move toward the fading glow of the archangel's light, where the giant's fate and the flood that follows is about to seal this story shut. You're standing in the valley's heart now, the air so thick with moisture, it feels like you're breathing through a damp cloth, heavy with the scent of rain-soaked earth, and something sharper, maybe the electric tang of a storm about to break. Your sandals sink into the muddy ground, each step a sluggish pull, as if the world's trying to hold you back from what's coming. The archangel's battle from before still flickers in your mind, their blazing light fading like a dying star, leaving only echoes of divine wrath. Now, you're facing the final blow in the Book of Giants saga, the Great Flood, the cosmic reset that drowns the Nephilim and their chaotic world. It's like heaven's hitting the delete key, and you're watching the screen go blank. You find a low mound to rest against, its surface slick with dew, like the earth's already weeping. The sky above is a churning mass of black clouds, no stars in sight, as if they've all fled the scene. The Book of Giants, preserved in those Qumran scrolls from around 200 BCE, doesn't linger on the flood itself, but it sets the stage for the deluge that Genesis 7 describes, dated loosely to the antediluvian era, around 3000 BCE, when Sumerian flood myths were already whispering of waters that swallowed the world. You feel the first drops of rain, cold and sharp, like tiny accusations on your skin. A distant roar grows louder, not giants this time, but water rushing like a freight train with no brakes. The flood's coming, and it's not subtle. Here's a strange tidbit. The Book of Giants hints that a few Nephilim might have survived the initial divine smackdown, only to face the waters. Imagine a giant 20 feet tall, trying to dog paddle in a flood that's eating mountains. You smirk, picturing one clinging to a tree like it's the world's worst life raft. I knew I should have taken swimming lessons. The humor fades as the rain intensifies, each drop stinging like a reminder of the giant's doom. Run your fingers along the mound, feeling its crumbling earth, like the last gasp of a world about to vanish. The flood isn't just a storm, it's divine judgment, washing away the watcher's sins, the Nephilim's chaos, and everything else caught in the crossfire. Historians still debate whether the flood was a literal global deluge or a localized disaster, maybe tied to Black Sea flooding around 5600 BCE, but the Book of Giants makes it feel like the end of everything. You hear the water now, a relentless roar, and see shadows in the distance, maybe villagers fleeing, maybe giants making a last, futile stand. The air grows colder, the rain soaking through your cloak, heavy as guilt. You can almost see Noah's ark in the distance, a speck of hope bobbing on waves that'll bury this valley. The Nephilim, those towering rebels from before, are no match for this. Their dreams of fire and flood, Enoch's tablets, the archangel's battle, all led here to a world drowned in divine frustration. You chuckle, imagining a giant trying to negotiate with the waves. Can we talk about a partial flood? I'll eat fewer villages. But the laughter catches as the water rises, lapping at your feet, cold and unyielding. The valley's alive with the flood's fury, the ground trembling as rivers overflow. You glance at the sky, now a wall of gray, like heavens sealed the exits. The Book of Giants ends here, its story swallowed by the same waters that erase the Nephilim. You're not just watching history, you're standing in its final moments. The rain, a drumbeat of closure. You pull your cloak tighter, shivering as the water climbs, and move toward higher ground, where the last threads of this tale, survivors, myths, and lingering questions, wait to be untangled. You're scrambling up a muddy slope now, the valley below drowning in the flood's relentless roar. The air so thick with rain, it feels like you're breathing water. The scent of wet earth and ozone clings to you, sharp and heavy, like the world's been doused in a cosmic cleaning solution. Your sandals slip on slick rocks, each stumble a reminder that this antediluvian world is crumbling fast. The floodwaters from last time still churn in your mind, swallowing the Nephilim and their chaos like a divine delete key. Now, you're pausing to catch your breath, looking back at the wreckage and wondering why the Book of Giants, this wild tale of angels and giants, was erased from the biblical canon. It's like someone decided this story was too much for the holy bookshelf, and you're about to dig into why. You find a rocky overhang to shelter under, its surface damp and rough, like it's been crying alongside the world. The sky's a solid wall of gray, no stars left to witness the aftermath. The Book of Giants, found in those Qumran scrolls around 200 BCE, was a hot topic among early Jewish communities, like the Essenes, who hid texts in caves, while empires like Rome rose around 100 BCE. But it never made the cut for the official Bible, left out like a spicy subplot in a PG-13 movie. You feel the rain's chill seeping through your cloak, each drop a question about what made this text too wild for the canon. A faint rumble echoes, not water now, but maybe the ghosts of giants, their shadows still lingering in the flood's wake. Here's a strange tidbit. Some scholars think the Book of Giants was sidelined because it leaned too hard into apocalyptic visions. too close to the Book of Enoch's cosmic weirdness. Imagine ancient rabbis reading it and thinking, giants with nightmares, angels gone rogue. Let's stick to Psalms. You smirk, picturing a council of scribes voting it out like it's a reality show elimination. Sorry, Book of Giants, you're just too extra. Run your fingers along the overhang's edge, feeling its jagged grooves, like the scars of a story left untold. The decision to exclude the Book of Giants wasn't just about space. It was about control, shaping a narrative that fit a tighter theology. Historians still debate whether it was too fantastical, too tied to non-Jewish myths like Gilgamesh's epic, or just too hard to reconcile with a god who'd rather flood than negotiate. You hear the water below still raging, and it feels like the flood itself is a metaphor for erasing stories that don't fit the script. Step out from the overhang, and the rain hits you again, cold and relentless, like it's trying to wash away your questions. The Book of Giants wasn't lost by accident. It was buried, maybe because it asked too much, about angels who fell, giants who dreamed, and a world that broke under their weight. You chuckle, imagining a modern editor redlining it. Love the drama, but can we cut the part where giants have an identity crisis? The humor fades as you glance at the flooded valley, its surface rippling with secrets. Those Qumran scribes kept it alive, hiding it in caves, like a time capsule for you to find. The air feels heavier now, like it's carrying the weight of all those lost stories. You think back to Enoch's tablets, Mahweh's quest, the Archangel's battle, all pieces of a tale too big for one book. The Book of Giants was erased, but its echoes linger in myths, in whispers, in the mud you're standing in. You pull your cloak tighter, the chill now a deep ache, and move along the slope toward a faint light, maybe a village, maybe just hope, where the final threads of this story, the Nephilim's legacy, wait to wrap it all up. You're perched on the muddy slope now, the rain slowing to a soft drizzle, each drop kissing your skin like a gentle apology from a world washed clean. The air carries a faint whiff of petrichor, that earthy scent of renewal, mixed with a lingering trace of ozone, as if the storm's wrath is finally spent. Your sandals are caked with mud, each step a heavy squish, grounding you in the aftermath of the flood that drowned the Nephilim and their chaotic legacy. The Book of Giants' erasure from the canon still lingers in your thoughts, its absence like a missing chapter in a book you can't put down. Now, you're turning to the final page, reflecting on the Nephilim's lingering influence, how their shadows stretch across myths, scriptures, and even the modern fascination with giants, like ghosts refusing to stay buried. You find a smooth stone to sit on, its surface cool and slick, like it's been polished by the flood's relentless hand. The sky above is clearing, a few stars peeking through the clouds, faint but steady, like they're ready to listen again. The Book of Giants, tucked away in those Qumran scrolls from around 200 BCE, may have been left out of the Bible, but its echoes ripple through time, touching stories from Sumerian epics to medieval legends. This ties to the ancient Near East, around 2000 BCE, when tales like the Epic of Gilgamesh wove giants and heroes into the cultural fabric, leaving traces that still spark debates today. You lean back, feeling the stones chill through your cloak, and catch a distant flicker, maybe a village fire, maybe a star's reflection on the receding floodwaters. Here's a strange tidbit. Some myths, like those in Greek or Norse traditions, hint at giant-like beings, suggesting the Nephilim's story spread far beyond Judea, like a viral meme with no source link. You smirk, imagining a Viking bard spinning a tale about a frost giant, unknowingly riffing on Ohia or Haya from the Book of Giants. Big guy, bad dreams, probably related to angels. 1010 would fight again. The air grows softer, the drizzle now a faint mist, like the world's exhaling after a long cry. The Nephilim's influence isn't just in old stories. It's in the way we're still obsessed with giants. Think blockbuster movies about titans, or conspiracy threads on X about ancient megastructures. Historians still debate whether these myths stem from real beings or just human fears of the oversized unknown, but the Book of Giants makes you feel their weight, their tragedy, their half-angel hearts beating in a world that couldn't hold them. You run your fingers across the stone, its faint cracks, like the fault lines of forgotten tales. You stand, the valley quiet now. The floods roar a distant memory. You think back to Enoch's tablets, Maway's cosmic quest, the archangels, battle, all threads weaving into this moment where the Nephilim story doesn't end but scatters like seeds carried on the wind. You chuckle softly, picturing a modern archaeologist digging up a scroll and muttering, "Giants? Really? This is why I don't sleep." The humor fades as you look out over the valley, its shadows softening, the water's surface calm, reflecting a single star like a promise. The world feels still, the air gentle, wrapping you in a quiet embrace. You're not just standing in a valley, you're cradling a story that survived floods, scribes, and centuries of silence. The Nephilim are gone, but their echoes linger in myths, in dreams, in the questions you carry. As you pull your cloak tighter, the stars grow brighter, their light warm, like a lullaby for a world reborn. Your eyelids grow heavy now, the valley fading into a soft blur, like a painting left in the rain. The air's hum is soothing, a whisper of peace after the storm. Let the Nephilim's tail slip away, their giant shadows dissolving into mist. You're safe here, wrapped in the quiet, the stars watching over you like old friends. Drift now, let the story carry you to sleep, its echoes a gentle hum in your dreams. End of script. Sweet dreams.